Monday, so you got to bring in Taylor LEWAN. Here's our guy, our Pro Bowl left tackle for the Tennessee Titans, co-host of the Bussin' with the Boys podcast. Taylor, how you doing? Spooktober's back, huh?
Glad to be here. Yeah, I'm just celebrating, man. Just always in the mood for a little Spooktober. Got the tree up at the house, though. Christmas is getting wild out here in the LEWAN household, so it's awesome.
Nothing says Christmas like getting wild in a Spooktober shirt at the LEWAN household. We love it. You and me have some beef to take care of with you, me, Will Compton, Bussin' with the Boys. We got to set a podcast time. I'd like to come in. I'd like to put Will in a headlock and give him a noogie. What do you think?
That sounds like a fair deal to me. How's the offseason look for you? You want to get that done?
We need to do it ASAP because he came after Dolly, and I just cannot. We cannot have him coming for Dolly.
He just doesn't get it, man. He grew up in Missouri, and he just spent so much time watching WWE or something and doesn't notice the simple beauties of life. And a simple beauty is Dolly Parton. The ability to stand up there with a beautiful show and just say and sing 9 to 5 and all the hits.
Yeah.
It's just it's gross, his take on that.
She sang Jolene out there after whatever Jack Harlow decided to do up in the Motor City in some like paper mache igloo. And an absolute icon. And Will is saying she's over.
Yeah, Will just doesn't understand country music. He doesn't like.
Will's
Yeah,
liability.
was Dolly Parton up there hanging on the ledge, kind of holding on for dear life as she was belting out the lyrics? No question. But you just gotta sit there and awe and be like, God damn, that's Dolly, baby.
Okay, well, I'm not going to get into this with you right now. Instead, we're going to get into last night. I mean, I was so annoyed because it was a great game, and I want to, like, Jordan Love is so good, and Christian Watson, and, like, the Packers are probably going to make the playoffs. But then the officiating happened, and I really do. I do not enjoy talking about controversial calls, but they permeated the entire thing and took over on the final drive. None bigger than this. Talk me through the MVS.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pass interference if I ever saw one, right? I mean, that's exactly what it is. I think the Packers are just they're so rich in quarterbacks, man. For every year for like 45 years, it seems like they're just doing it, and Love is just coming along, man. It's the refereeing. We've talked about it on the show, I think, every single week, but we got to get this gray area BS out of the way. I don't know if we need to go to AI generated referees or what, because it's just there's too much for people to look at and just how they interpret the rules as opposed to black and white rules. And it's just difficult.
Is there anybody out there that thinks that shouldn't have been called? Like, that's what what?
I don't know. Maybe call Dean Blandino because he seems like he gets calls wrong all the time. But if you're draped over a guy when the ball is 5 yards away from you, it's going to be pass interference, or it should be pass interference.
It's got to be called.
Back and forth. Yeah, it's got to be called. It absolutely has to. I think that's just crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. But good for the Packers, man. Unreal. Yeah. Making the Chiefs look human.
It's true. And for the Packers, Jordan Love, what a solid performance he had. Again, another 300-yard game, no interceptions. Was this enough, this performance against this Chiefs, which obviously are dealing with some stuff on defense, whatever. Like, do you think they can take the final spot? Their schedules.
For the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they can absolutely. Yeah, pull that thing up.
Pull that thing up, producer.
Pull that thing up. Pull it up, producer.
There we go.
Thank you so much. Let me get in here. My eyes
are
bad.
No. I meant the schedule. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, they can get in there, though.
They don't play a team with a winning record down the stretch. They got the Vikings and Bears to round it off. Panthers, Bucks, Giants this week. Like, they could win out and get in the playoffs.
They absolutely could. The Vikings, to me, are a team that it's such a question mark. I mean, Josh Dobbs had a great start, and they throw so many picks. Thank God they're on a bye this week because you need to shake that thing off. But the Packers really are one of those teams, dude. They could really make it happen, jump in there late, and I don't think they're going to make much damage. The NFC, those top two teams in the NFC are so legit, which we saw yesterday.
It doesn't even matter. Okay, so we did see those last year, and obviously Niners, they were the favorite. They go in there, they blow out the Eagles. Debo, friend of the show, family. He's our family. He talked, his talk leading into this one. He backed it up. He had 3 touchdowns. Have you ever seen a player in your time back up trash talk as strongly as he did?
No. Honestly, most of the times.
Maybe run the table or relax, maybe.
Yeah, most of the time I see guys talk trash, it usually ends horrible for them. Perfect example, Earl Thomas, 2019, #1 seed with the Ravens. We ain't scared of Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry literally took Earl and turned him into a fullback for him on a run and just ran for like 190 yards. It's like that seems to be a consistent theme. Debo is that dude. And listen, I know what I said on this show before. Brock Purdy is that guy. He really is that dude, man. Just a couple points shy of a perfect record, like you said. Like, it is really they are the best team in the NFL, and after what we saw yesterday, it's not close. If they stay healthy, they're the team.
They were the team week 1. Like week 1, I was like, oh, this is a January-looking team when everybody else is like preseason week 4 to kick off the season. It looked amazing. You heard this stuff about Brock from whoever you heard it from. Are you hearing anything about him now? Like anything? Like when people.
That source has gone cold.
Okay.
They won't text me back. I send them the stats. Hey, what do you have to say about this? And they're like, no response.
Interesting. When people are hitting you up, like the Kittles of the world or the Warners or whoever, when they were like defending him, like that mixed with the performance, this is an MVP caliber player at this point, right? Look at the odds.
Yes.
Here. What do you think? Brock as MVP?
I mean, if you look at that, I think Lamar should be a little bit higher, maybe even 2-2. But like, yeah, Brock has the aliens around him. And if they're able to play that well on defense, he's going to show out the way he does. He will probably win this MVP. I don't know about Dak. Here's what worries me about Dak. It's not him as a player. It's the coaching staff of situational football. And you saw it with the Seahawks. They almost lost that game. And they were down. They had to come back. That was great. But even their two-minute management in halftime and towards the end of the game when they threw it, when they should have been running the ball on a 4-minute drive, like that's the type of stuff that's going to get you beat and not get you that accolade at the end. Because, I mean, MVP should always go to the quarterback. It should go to the quarterback. But you need the wins. You need the coaches and the players around you to help you out. And Brock Purdy has it. He's got the coaching staff around him. He's got the aliens around him. And he definitely is a guy that can be the MVP this year.
I don't know. Every week we're talking about another MVP at quarterback spot, and none of them are really like nuking each other. They're all sort of in the mix. And like, the running back on this team deserves to be the MVP. Come on.
A running back on
you
talking about Christian McCaffrey.
I mean, if you're a voter and you get to vote, and it's between Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey was over 1,000 yards rushing already. You can't knock him. He had a 100-yard game. Nobody's even talking about it. I
know, but I mean, Christian McCaffrey is the great white hope at running back. He's an absolute stud. Don't get me wrong, but JJ Watt had a good reference to this. The year he had like 20.5 sacks, fumble recovery, 5 touchdowns, all that stuff is like the quarterback, the leader of the team, the most valuable asset in all the franchise should win the MVP. And I get it. Like if I had to pick between those two guys, who am I taking? I'm taking CMC. That's my boy. I love him to death. And he's a stud. He's like that dude that you put a franchise around. Luckily, the 49ers, their front office, everybody has done such an amazing job of putting that team together, and they gel so well. Like they got MVPs all over that place.
Yeah. I don't think anything Brock Purdy does, winning the Super Bowl included, is going to change that people are a little sus on him.
Yeah, and I think that'll continue to happen when, he can let people talk as they're backing up a Brinks truck to him in a couple of years and giving him the biggest contract of all time. Like if you keep that kind of talent around him and he keeps producing like that, like let the haters fade. I'm sure Tom Brady had the same thing when he was his first couple of years of starting. So it's one of those deals that's like that becomes noise. My source, me saying it on your show, just becomes white noise. It doesn't matter. It helps him sleep at night.
Yeah,
he's a stud.
He doesn't seem to care at all, and I like that he came out and said Debo clearly had some beef. He got some things going on with him, so he sees what's going on, but he didn't look in crazy conditions after the first quarter when things are a little shaky. To sort of come out of that is so impressive. But the Eagles' defense also wasn't the best yesterday. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So they're after the game ended, they're now like the 24th ranked defense in the league after yesterday. What is the concern with this team? Because they got to put it behind them. They got a big game against the Cowboys basically for the division. But what happened here yesterday? It felt like there was a lot of criticism about their speed. They're not really going for it. So they're sort of being questioned as far as effort, even? What did you make of it?
I didn't think it was an effort issue or anything like that. What I thought of it is a game that's been talked about or thought of in the 49ers locker room since, January 22nd, 2022, or whenever the date was when the NFC Championship happened, because they had so many injuries and Eagles were talking so much trash. And that just kept getting the 49ers going. The 49ers played on a level that nobody expected us to come. They're 3.5 favorites going to Philly, which was crazy to me to even think about. But I mean, they had that kind of production. We're going to see this game again, and I think it's going to be a much closer game in the playoffs. That team, dude, we've talked about it all year. 49ers, Eagles are the two best put together teams in all of the NFL. They got Kevin Byard from the Titans, my boy KB. They've got a lot of studs in the middle. They've been drafting the whole team of Georgia for the last 4 years. They're gonna be all right. it's just one of those games where your mouth did more work than your actual legs. And I think when we go into the NFC Championship or whenever those teams do play in the playoffs, which they are going to play, it's going to be a quiet week, I bet. I bet no one's saying a whole lot. Everyone's kind of keeping themselves, and that's when we'll see that type of speed. Maybe they slept on them a little bit because they did destroy them the year before.
Maybe they, yeah, there's definitely that. I don't know if any, I don't know. Biggest game of the year. Didn't work out. I do want to see these two teams again. What did you make? And let's just get to it. This was trending all day yesterday. Greenlaw versus Dom. Who knew this would be the heavyweight bout that we didn't know we needed? So this is the Eagles' head of security. For those of you who don't know, he's like a celebrity kind of, but he's not on the team. He's not a coach on the team. So that got Kyle upset. When this was going down, what were you thinking?
I was thinking Greenlaw getting kicked out is absolutely ridiculous. He puts his hand in his face. Dude, shout out Dom. Guy's been in that franchise for 25 years as head of security. He's just, you tell everybody loves him. Eagles fans were putting up highlights of him just walking off a bus. Like, that is cool. Should Dom have done that? Absolutely not. You're on the sideline. Like, you got to kind of stay in your lane in that type of situation. But we go back to referees getting kicked out of the game. That's nuts to me. That would happen. That's just crazy.
So what should have happened and what should happen going forward? Greenlaw should not have been kicked out, fine. But like when something like this goes down, it's the head of security. Kyle Shanahan comes out and says somebody who's not actually a part of the game is able to inflict something like to get in my players' faces. That's unacceptable. So should Dom's sideline privileges be revoked? Should there be some sort of what should happen here? Nothing?
No. I think you walk into the office and they sit down. They say, "Hey, listen, we appreciate what you're doing, but let's not just jump into the field of play and get into a guy's face." A lot of the players do that, coaches do that, because there's been multiple situations where there's a play on the sideline and players and coaches are kind of getting in the rough, and it's kind of like, oh, you're in their territory, you got to get out of there. For Dom, it's like, I don't think it needs to be anything like, hey, you're done, you're fired, you're all this, your privileges have been revoked. I think it's just a hilarious storyline in week 13 of the NFL. I think it's just crazy that had affected a player being ejected, which is crazy. Was there even contact? It was like a nose whisk.
It was, yeah. I mean, it wasn't cool. Come on, Taylor.
Of Dom?
Yeah.
No, see, I disagree. I think that, to me, that's cool. I thought that was cool of Dom getting there and roughing it up and separating some stuff and just taking his job super, super serious. I'm the security guy. I'm this dude. But he can't do that. To me, I was
you can't say he can't do that if you like that he did. Okay, got it.
No, yeah. You can't do it, but hey, that was kind of cool. Yeah. That was a for the boys move.
My producer Richard's always getting in my ear, but I can never hear him. So Richard, play that again. I want to ask Taylor what you want me to ask him. The controller wants to know, did anybody ever in your career mess with you that was a non-player? Did you ever have your version of a big Dom? Great question.
There was one situation. We were playing the Houston Texans, and there was a playoff in the Texans sidelines, and I kind of get in there and get my guy and bring him back. I think it was Marcus. He scrambled and ran, and he was kind of on the ground. I get him up, and I start talking trash to a bunch of people, and I realize I'm kind of getting circled like a pack of wild dogs on prey, and I'm the prey. And I start to back up and I bump into somebody and I turn around and it's a coach and I'm like, hey, I get in his face. I'm like, F you too. F you. I gotta get in that guy's face. And the guy's like, who the hell is this guy? And I jog off. Fun story. That was Mike Vrabel, and he was my coach 2 months later. So that was a fun situation for me to break
full
down.
Circle moment. Big Dom, a coach coming to a team to coach near you. Who knows? I want to get into your Titans. We have to, because this is was this the craziest game of the year? Definitely the most odd and entertaining game of the weekend. We got overtime, multiple blocked punts. Ryan Tannehill comes in as an emergency field goal holder. And it was a roller coaster ride a la Miami Dolphins celebration with Will Levis. It was great. What is your takeaway from seeing what went on between DeAndre Hopkins and Will Levis?
I think this was a win for the Titans all the way through, except for the win-loss column. I think, you showed some good things on defense with Amani Hooker getting 6. You see Will Levis jumping, getting a first down. You see, DeAndre Hopkins getting touchdowns, moving the ball, scoring points. We go to overtime with a divisional opponent and it ends up not going our way. And that's a big W for the Titans because we're now Tim Kelly showing he can call the offense. We can score points. The Colts are a good ball club that are kind of in the hunt right now. And also you're taking the L, which is a W because now our draft stock's even better. You get that win, it's like, okay, great. But like we're not making the playoffs or anything like that. Entertaining game. Will Levis, man, he said he played a bad game. Statistically, he did have a bad game, but like the guy's got that salt. He's got that vigor.
What am I supposed to do with salt? Talk to me. Like, what am I supposed to make of this young Will Levis?
He's a tough guy, doesn't have a whole lot of tools around him right now. You see he's force-feeding DeAndre Hopkins a lot. Treylon Burks played 7 snaps in the game, who was a first-round pick in 2018 when we traded away A.J. Brown. It's just this play right here is incredible. Like, if there's an end zone view where he throws it, and the minute he throws it, he starts sprinting after the ball, hitting it out, recovering it like that.
But this is chaotic.
Chaotic, and that's what it's going to be until we get pieces around him. The old line has kind of been in shambles. The wide receiver room has not had a whole lot of consistency. DeAndre Hopkins is hot and he's cold, and that's not him. DeAndre Hopkins, you give him the ball, he's going to do work with it. But there's not a whole lot of tools. Like the Titans franchise, as far as like having like top tier players right now, it's not where it needs to be. And so that's where losing this game in the fashion you did is my spin zone of being like, that's a win for us, boys. That's a big win for us.
That's a win always for the boys. Okay, big weekend for you, my friend, and your Michigan boys, because they're in the college playoff. Right. I literally only pay attention to this because of you. So I know that they're the 1 seed. I know with that top spot comes their opponent, Alabama. I saw the footage of the conference banquet hall and nobody was happy about it. Did they get it right with the top 4? And what is your concern level with having to go up against Bama? Yeah,
so anytime you want success, obviously it's going to be a harder road, but you want the path of least resistance. And my path in my mind was Florida State. They have a 3rd-string quarterback. They're undefeated to me. Like, hey, I'll let them in. I understand why the committee did it. They probably got it right because you can't put Alabama in and not put Texas, who beat them in September. Now, I had the same kind of feeling as what we saw in that video. I don't know what their true emotions were. Maybe they wanted Florida State and they saw Alabama and they were bummed out by that. I don't know. When 2012, we played the Cowboy Classic in Dallas Stadium and we got destroyed 42-14. Derrick Henry was on that team and he was on the bench. That's how good that team was. So is there a level of concern? Yes. But who's the big bad wolf in college football? And that's the SEC. And so this is just the road you have to go on to win the national championship. You're going to see them eventually anyway. Why not now?
Are they going to win?
Yes, they're going to win.
I'm excited for you. I don't even know. I don't even know anything about it. I know that the Jags and Bengals play tonight. On your way out, tell me who's winning and why.
I think the Jags are going to win. The Bengals are. Without Joe Burrow, we saw what happens. Even when he had a calf injury, the Jags are going to win this game. They're
Jags are going to win this game. You know, if they win, they get the 1 seed in the AFC. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe right here. Do it now for the latest from Up and Adams.